It is 5:45 and time for the redevelopment agency of Murray City. Okay, the first thing on our agenda, well, first of all the RDA members are present. We have, we don't have, we have Laura.
Yes.
Laura, welcome.
Thank you.
We have the mayor, we have GL, we have our new council member, who is our new RDA member, David Rogers. Present is Pam Cotter, Rosalba Dominguez, myself, and Gary Hurekasi, and Jennifer Kennedy, our director. So, welcome to everyone. And let's see, our RDA meeting agenda is pretty full, so we better get started with the approval of the minutes for May 16th, 2023 and August 1st, 2023. So I will take a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the minutes for May 16th, 2023 and August 1st, 2023.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, seeing none, the minutes pass. Okay, second, we have citizen comments. Just an aside, public comments can be made in person during the meeting or may be submitted by sending email, including your name and address, to rda@murray.utah.gov. All comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and email comments will be read into the meeting record. Do we have any citizen comments? None from the email? Okay. Okay. Oh, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, I would.
Great.
My name is Dylan Barney. I live on 4902 Box Elder Street, which is just over here. When I saw that the item number 3, the action item, as far as the consideration of resolution, as far as sales of certain properties, I'm concerned about when that property is developed, knowing how much mediation was put into place to keep the contaminants from getting into my home, which is just a couple of parcels away from that property. And the other one is to find out some way to get the property boundaries corrected so that the property boundaries in that area are correct as far as where the people are living compared to where the boundary lines are at the time. And I did send an email out to Phil, and he sent some things back showing me where the different property were that were being affected, the 043, 042, and 39. The other properties, there's a 040, which is my neighbor, and 019 is a parcel that goes down my driveway, which is really it's kind of on the tax records, it shows somebody else owning that property, but for the last 60 years, that's where my family's had a driveway and a home, and 009 is where I live. There's just parcels right in a sequence to each other. It's not shown on the map, but I get concerned about anything moving into that neighborhood, especially now that the city hall is here, the fire station, and the future development, and the meeting that was held a short time ago discussing what was going to happen on State Street. So I've been involved in these meetings as far as RDA for quite a long time, and I'm concerned about what's happening in my specific neighborhood now, specifically right next door to my property. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Barney. Any more citizen comments? All right, hearing none, we will continue on to number 3, which is an action item, and that is consideration of resolution number There's no number.
Right.
Authorizing the marketing and sale of real property within the central business district located at approximately 4868, 4878, and 4872 South Box Elder Street, Murray, Utah.
Thank you. These are the parcels that Mr. Barney was referring to. They are directly west of us here from City Hall. And the city has, well, staff has decided, and actually RDA did approve a resolution to sell these parcels. And so this is, well, we haven't approved the resolution yet. The discussion was to move forward with it. So we're asking you to go through with this and put these up for sale. They are being sold as is, and we are aware that there is some level of contamination on those. We're not aware of the severity, but it's more or less buyer beware. And we have had some interest in the parcels, speculative, but we'll see if they're serious and how they want to go about doing that if they do indeed offer us a price.
Okay, Mr. Markham, our CED director, is our presenter. I guess you're called a presenter now. Anyway, thank you, Phil.
Okay. Any questions on those, or?
I have a question. What is it currently zoned as?
That is a good question. I don't have the zoning map in front of me. Is it, it's MCCD. So it's in the MCCD.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question, Phil?
Sure.
When these properties get sold and there's contaminants in the soil, will they be in strict laws like the Bullion Project?
Sure. There would be an EPA project
Okay.
or state oversight, and we're not involved in enforcing that. There are very strict regulations that govern the cleanup of these materials. They either have to be hauled off-site or properly mitigated on-site, encased, or, you know, depending on the level of contamination, there are various mitigation methods that they would use.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very, very strict.
Okay.
Just to kind of go over the process, once we sell, the applicant or whoever purchases the property could come back and ask for assistance from the RDA to help
I would
kind of
think that's
mitigate.
possible.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, just clarifying that, because I
Sure.
know we've done that in the past
Yeah,
for other
I would think
properties.
that that's possible. That would be terms of a sale that would have to be worked out between the RDA and the buyer.
Yeah, it's RDA money.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
just putting it out there.
Mhm.
Okay, thank
And
you.
you've had interest in this property.
There's been speculation, you know, for quite some time, but, you know, it's really hard to say how serious they are until it actually does come up for sale.
Okay.
Quick, last question I
Uh-huh.
have. Is there a reason why we're not keeping the property? As a-
It was, you know, it was explained to me that, first of all, the contamination, the city does not really want to deal with that at this time. It's an odd-shaped parcel. It's smaller even when you combine the three of them. It's not a significant parcel. And so it's something that an experienced developer might want to try his hand at, but it's not something that the city's really interested in, you know, keeping on the roll.
Yeah, it's probably not something we want to develop as a city.
At one time, there was speculation of putting a fire department training facility there and stuff like that, but that has since changed.
And do you know who owns the parcel right west of that, closer to the tracks, or is that a part of Union Pacific? Sorry,
It may be the railroad,
Yeah.
a loading yard.
It looks like it's
Yeah,
way
It's
close.
probably a loading yard.
Will you?
I was just curious.
Excuse me, it's UTA that own that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's right, they did store cars there a few years ago. They had some surplus cars sitting there for a while.
All right, thank you. That's all my
Will you
questions.
let us know when these are sold
Oh, absolutely.
and who bought them?
Yes, as the RDA board, it's
Yes.
money that you're
It'll
responsible
come
Okay.
to
for.
us, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Markham, so you would like us to have a motion?
Yes, I would. I'm asking for a resolution and vote
Great.
on whether to sell the property.
What would be the number on that?
It will get a number once the
Yeah, I
resolution is
don't-
approved. Isn't that right,
We don't have a
Gio?
number yet,
We don't have a number,
so it's blank.
so it's gonna be blank.
We typically just say consider a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
So will you take a motion?
Yes, I would appreciate a motion.
I will make a motion that we adopt a resolution authorizing the marketing and sale of real property within the central business district located at approximately 4868, 4878, and 4872 south of Box Elder Street, Murray, Utah.
Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Is there discussion on the motion? Okay, Laura, would you take the roll?
Yes, Mr. Valencia,
Aye.
Mr. Rogers,
Aye.
Ms. Carter,
Aye,
Ms. Cotter, sorry.
it's okay. We're all good.
Ms. Dominguez,
Yes, aye.
and Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passes. And
For the next item, Zach is going to present a couple of items here. He's with me, Zach Smallwood, one of our planners, and then I'll be coming back for the discussion items later in the agenda.
awesome.
Thanks.
Welcome, Zach. All right, so you're doing discussion item number 4, which is providing additional funding to NeighborWorks of Salt Lake for use in their down payment assistance program.
Yes. So this was discussed in the RDA planning meeting, and I believe it's been discussed before the board before. So we do have some additional set aside for the moderate income housing. And NeighborWorks is blowing through their existing $200,000.
Wow.
I think it's already been committed for this year that just started in July. So we are looking to provide an additional $200,000 for that down payment assistance. So we would like to just get, have a conversation and see if that's something that you guys are interested in doing. And if so, we can work towards crafting a resolution and all that fun stuff that the attorneys get to write up for us. And we get all the fun
Okay,
stuff.
so this is for discussion only,
Yeah,
correct?
discussion only. Yep, no
Okay.
action.
All right, and what did they do with that $200,000?
So it would be exactly like what you guys fund for your annual $200,000 that you give to NeighborWorks. It would be for down payment assistance. This would be citywide. This is for any residents. That's separate from the employee down payment assistance that I'm usually up here talking about. So this would be citywide for those, for anybody here in the city. And there are stipulations to that, obviously. I believe it is restricted to low and moderate income people as well. And I think first-time home buyers, things like that.
Could you speak up a little bit?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, it's for low and moderate income housing and down payment assistance for those, so.
Diane, can
Questions for Zach?
I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Zach,
Mayor?
30,000, is that correct? You said 30,000. Or maybe you didn't, but that's what I was thinking in my head. Is it per?
I think 30,000 is what they give out,
Is that
yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, I believe they go up to 30,000,
That's-
5% of the home, $30,000 per applicant.
You looked at me like, I didn't say that. No, I was thinking that in my head.
It's all right. No, it's funny because I was drafting up the stuff for the employee down payment assistance, and I had 30,000 in my head. So I'm like, this is a weird moment that I know I didn't say it.
So 30,000 is the maximum,
Yes,
and they've already gone through it for this fiscal year.
that's already been committed.
And so do they have a line of additional people waiting for commitments? And is 200,000 sufficient? Are we going to be through this in the next month? And we're going to need to do another resolution for more.
So that's entirely up to the board. You guys do have a housing set aside in a lot of the RDA areas. So committing that money is entirely up to you. So the 200,000, yes, that's just an easy way for the city to provide for some additional affordable housing options. But that doesn't mean you have to give them the 200,000.
No, I guess, let me what I'm asking is, they've already committed the first 200.
Yes.
We're giving another 200.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of people waiting currently to get that next 200?
That one, I don't know for sure. I don't think they have a waiting list. I think just once they just tell them we don't have any funds available at this time. I think it's a first come, first serve.
The reason I'm asking is because if we because if we have the funds set aside already, and I don't know how much we have in funds set aside, and it's money we need to spend towards a project like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we know how much we have set aside, Brenda, in this program?
Couple $1 million.
I just think, and if it's not like they have to qualify, they have to live in Murray. So if we give more, it's not like if they don't use it, it just disappears and gets used for other things. It has to be used for this specific purpose.
It would have to be used for that specific thing, yeah.
Quick question. So the 200,000 that we set for employees, that's already been allotted?
That's,
employees,
yeah,
correct?
Yeah. Oh, wait, for employees?
Yeah.
Yes, that has been, that just got finalized last week.
Okay, so this new 200,000 is open for residents and employees? Or
I don't think
whoever?
it restricts for employees. It's
but it
just
opens-
residents.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then it will open it up to residents?
Yes.
So the first 200,000 was allotted just for employees?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No,
So-
so
Okay, I was confused because
Yeah.
I thought you mentioned both of them and so I was just confused. So
yes, I apologize.
No,
So
that's okay.
I'll go through it. So every year, at least for the past 5 years that I've been here, the city count or the redevelopment agency has provided $200,000 to NeighborWorks. And then this year, or I guess last year, sometime recently, I asked as part of the modern income housing to set up a new program, a pilot program for the employee down payment assistance. So that is separate. That one is completely separate. So this would be an additional 200,000 on top of the 200,000 that has been done yearly for the past few years.
do we know on average what NeighborWorks does in other cities or what they've done in Murray? What the need, like, do we have those metrics to base if we do give more money? Or are they gonna come back for more money? I guess that's a question for NeighborWorks.
That's more of a question for NeighborWorks for sure. And if you guys want to have more of that kind of discussion, we can invite them back to kind of discuss that a little further.
Okay.
And so to ask the council, I mean, the question that is sitting in my mind is if we give more, why does it hurt us? Like, I'm just throwing numbers out. If we give $500,000, what's the difference? Because if they don't spend the money, it still has to be used for this specific purpose.
Right.
My concern is if we don't fund it enough and they get someone that comes to them asking for the assistance and they say no, they say no, we don't have any funds. They don't say no, we're going to the council to get more funds. That person may not come back and we may have lost out on a good opportunity to bring someone into the city that maybe needed to use this program. So that's more what I'm thinking. I'd rather have sufficient money and it sits there, it has to be used for this program and it's already we already have the money.
Zach, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, you've got Trip Lane that NeighborWorks is doing, okay? And then you have this 60/40, and then you
That's
have
a
the.
whole other discussion.
Hold on, and then you have the employee one, okay? Could hypothetically put myself in that situation, I could go in and buy one of those houses that NeighborWorks has, and I could apply for the employee because I work for Murray City, and I also could get this 60/40. Could I get all this and live on Trip Lane with a NeighborWorks house?
I mean, I don't think anything would be stopping you. They may have a clause. NeighborWorks may have a clause that you can only receive one of their benefits, but I'm not.
I'd like to see something in that, so someone that's going into Trip Lane is getting, a house and is getting all these extra things.
So I mean, what you have to take into consideration as well is that a lot of this down payment assistance is for first-time home buyers.
Right.
And
Yes.
moderate to low-income housing people as well.
Which Trip Lane will be for the houses.
4 of them, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm
that,
just looking as the district
sure,
person,
yeah.
that a resident, somebody could come in and apply for all these
Yeah, I could get,
programs, and, yeah, thank you, Zalba. And
yeah, we
walk
could,
out with a, $500
But we
loan.
could also include that into our agreements with them, that they can or can't too. I'm assuming if we go into an agreement with them.
yeah, and I can look into it with NeighborWorks.
Yeah.
As you know, Elvon's on the board here.
Yeah.
I can have him reach out as well, and we
Yeah.
can get a more solid answer on that one for sure.
So if we were to increase the funding, because we do have the money, why would we not do that? Are there any contraindications for us to do that, to provide more funding? We just want to be able to,
Of course.
allow as many people as possible to
Yes.
have that funding.
100%. And
I was able to get some additional information from Doug. Tony Simone is watching the meeting tonight, and he indicated that in 2022, NeighborWorks distributed $649,000 in Murray, and they had that total amount based on savings from previous years and so forth. So the account was growing. They've gone through that, and now they're looking to reestablish this account. That's why the first 200,000 was completely done. And if we didn't give them any more than that, then the program for the rest of the year would sit idle. So we were asking to match that again. Any more than that, or well, any amount is totally up to the RDA board.
Right. So would there be any reason that we should not provide more funding than just the 200,000 that from your perspective that we could?
As long as there's money in the budget and it can be managed, that's entirely your decision.
the only thing I would also add to that is you also want to, I mean, obviously you say like you have, I'm just throwing out a number, I don't know what it is. Say like you just have $1 million just sitting there in your RDA affordable housing set aside, right?
Right.
I don't know if, and this is entirely up to your legal counsel and everything, but in my opinion, I would do more funding to them for sure, but I would still keep some funding in there in case something, some other program that interests you guys as a board would be something that you wanted to fund. Like, for example, if we had originally just taken all the housing set aside and just given it to NeighborWorks to deal with, we wouldn't be able to have the discussion about like the MTAP, which is that transit thing. So
That's what I want to hear.
yes. So I wouldn't say, I would say yes. I mean, there's definitely, it does do good for citizens of Murray for sure to give that additional money. And I think that's a great cause to go for. But not necessarily just throw all of it at NeighborWorks.
And we can also implement like a cap or something of the sorts.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
if
this
they're
is
getting up over 600,000, we could say 400,000 is your cap or 500,000, and then a lot for other programs if they come available.
And also to be clear, this is just a one-time 200,000. So
Right.
for this year. So next year they'll get their allotment of 200,000. And then if you decide, during the budget process early next year, that you feel like you want to increase that larger, then that's definitely a discussion to have as well.
And can we, sorry, Mayor, go ahead, Mayor. I can ask my next question.
I just want to make sure that, because Gary had asked that question earlier, and I'm not sure, but I think we were answering it, that this is all the money could be used for, is this program. And that's why Gary's saying, well, why don't we do it now rather than wait? But this can be used for any project that's for low-income housing.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, for reminding me of that. Yes, so this is so this money isn't specifically set aside for NeighborWorks.
Correct.
What it's specifically set aside for is affordable housing. Right. How the RDA chooses to use that is entirely up to the RDA. It just has to work towards affordable housing.
Right.
It does not necessarily have to go to NeighborWorks.
Works. And does it grow over, I mean, do we continue to put money in this?
Yeah, where does the money exactly come from?
Part of that tax increment.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
so it will continue to grow. I guess where my mind is sitting is this is something that actually Jill and I have talked about a lot, is around the fact that NeighborWorks meets one of our mission. I think he says something like it meets one of our missions that we have to do, which is the low income housing. And I don't know if we have a lot of other good examples of where we are spending this. So my concern with either capping or not funding this more and sitting on a bunch of money is eventually it's going to get to the end where we're going to be like, well, now we have all this money and what are we going to do with it? Because we're not necessarily thinking of a ton of other ideas to deal with low income housing. And so this is one of those ideas that I think is in place.
And I'll tell you, the next discussion item is probably an idea for.
Good. Well, no, I don't disagree, but it's still, we have millions is what I'm understanding, and it's growing,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so we need to continue on. We still got a lot to cover. So I guess the discussion is that we definitely want to do the 200,000 and perhaps more.
Okay. Okay.
And then make sure you check if they can go into trip lane.
If they can compound it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I will
Get this one and get this one and get that one and,
Okay, so what I'm going to take just from the board, I think we're going to move forward. We'll craft a
Yes.
resolution for 200,000 at this time. Or do you want to do something different?
So that would be a total of 400,000 in the current fiscal year, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
What you'd probably want to do is come back with the 200, and
Yeah.
if they want to change it, that.
Oh, they can just change it at that. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't sure on the
No, you're
process.
fine.
All right, so are we good? Is that
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Very helpful.
Let's go to number 5, which is a discussion item on NeighborWorks, again, 60/40 loan program. And Zach Smallwood.
Yeah, this one I'm just going to kind of go over really high level. Again, no action is necessary. We're just looking for feedback on whether we should proceed or how we should proceed. So if you remember back on July 18th, Tony Simone did come and provide a presentation on that 60/40 loan program.
Yeah.
If you have questions about it, I can generally answer it. I know it a little bit, but I don't know too much about it. But it is to utilize those 4 of those properties over off Trip Lane to provide that type of financing. And so staff would like direction on whether we want to pursue that. I believe it was close to roughly about $1 million. It was $900 and something thousand to do this program. It is a loan. It is not forgivable, so it would be paid back and could possibly be reinvested back into something else in the future.
And again, we had some late information concerning the loan program from Tony as far as when the loan is paid back. Our assumption all along has been that would return to the RDA. It does not return to the RDA. It continues to stay in a revolving account that NeighborWorks will continue to administer this program with.
Wow.
So
But where
it
would-
slowly does grow their program.
Okay.
But their core mission is the same. The money would be used for the same purpose.
So really, essentially, we can give them like a pot of money and then that just keeps
It
revolving.
perpetuates is the
Okay.
theory, yes.
But it will have
Sorry.
restriction.
Apologize.
Right.
That's good.
Yes.
And
That makes sense.
so, yeah, that is something that we did want some feedback on. And I would leave this open enough to say that after staff updates, if you guys want to discuss that a little bit more in depth, we can talk about that as well. But do you guys have questions on the 60/40 at this point?
So when they get done with Trip Lane and they have this pot of money, where do they go next to do the same program in the city? Do they find another piece of property and do the same thing?
That could very well be. They could do something, maybe this is just throwing out ideas. I
Right.
can't speak for NeighborWorks, but like maybe they could find a piece of property that they can flag lot. And so they end up creating a flag lot subdivision. So with a house here and then a house behind it. And they end up doing the 60-40 loan program on the house behind it. There are opportunities for things like that, especially in cities like ours.
Yeah. So really it prolongs our relationship also with NeighborWorks so that we are meeting those metrics within the city.
Yes. Yeah, I would say
And-
that.
And then also if property does come up, let's say the west side of here. I mean, that can be something that they can attain or, with that money, I'm assuming to continue the loan program.
Yeah, they would still continue.
I mean,
to
that's
utilize
just an
that.
example.
Right, exactly.
Or it could be my personal parcel or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm just,
No, you're good.
so we can.
No, you're good.
I just want to make sure
No.
we all have examples.
Yeah,
and Pam has
definitely.
an example.
I agree.
Yeah, there, see, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
I agree. I'd like an example too.
So Pam, when you're ready to sell your house,
Well, I just think that Trip Lane is such a unique subdivision in my district that would they be looking for another piece of property so they know down in the future they're gonna have to have something? Would they be looking at something so they could continue this kind of a program? I mean,
I think
or
that
would
would
it be
be
just dead and like, that's it, we're done?
I think that would be a great question for Elvon when he brings it up in his next NeighborWorks board meeting.
Oh, okay.
Or if we can have it guaranteed so it stays within the city, the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is constrained.
It is, sorry. Welcome.
Thank you. It is constrained that it needs to be used in Murray City.
Okay,
Again, we're not sure on those uses specifically, if they're going to be buying another property or if they can just use it to continue to offer better loans to low-income individuals.
okay.
But it does
awesome.
need to be used in Murray.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, do you have what you need?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, I think so, at least for now. Yes.
Okay, that's good. We need to continue on.
Yes, please.
And we have lots of, all right. Are you guys okay? I mean, is that?
Yes, that's great.
I suggest everybody to take a field trip and come look at Trip Lane.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, we're now on number 6, which is an information item. Public Works to utilize funds from the CITY RDA to install safety bollards on Main Street.
Yes. Thank you again, Chair Turner.
Okay, so Zach, you're
Yes.
gonna be the one.
Yep, this one I'm really excited about. I'm really excited. So over the past about a year, maybe a little over a year, there have been 2 traffic accidents on the corner of Fireclay and Main Street that have impacted the building right there on Main Street. Luckily, these were at off times, so nobody besides the person in the vehicle was hurt. Nobody in the building was hurt, but there was pretty significant damage to the building. And that was twice within 1 year. So the property owner approached the city on opportunities to work together on providing some better safety for that area. And so especially, vehicular safety. So working with the Public Works Division and us in Community Development and with the mayor's staff, we came up with safety bollards. So these are stronger than the current decorative bollards that are there in the district. And they will be located right there on that corner currently. And these ones will actually be able to stop a car going, I think this one goes up to 25 miles per hour, but it will still obviously slow a car going faster than that. And so these are actually, poured into the ground and covered with a decorative cover. So as you can see on what we gave as a handout, the location of all those bollards, So we are going to be using some of the funding from the, we have some funds already available. I discussed it with Brenda that we could utilize this for. So yeah, we're going to be installing those. We found a decorative cover that meets the intent of the fire clay district instead of big, bright, yellow plastic tubes. So made them so that they kind of fit with the design aesthetic of fire clay. So
what is the cost?
that's a great question.
It's on the back page.
Yes, I believe it was approximately $57,394. Yep.
Okay, and you don't need us to, this is not an action item. We don't need to vote on this. You already have the funding.
Yep, the funding is already within the district in those funds. From what I understand from Brenda, there's some funding that we can use for things like this. So
I think they're a great idea from a safety perspective. That is our responsibility to keep our citizens safe, so.
I agree.
Very
I'm really excited for it.
They kind of look like the smokestacks. If you're going to go with that one, it kind of looks like the smokestacks. But the only concern I have is, are they going to be high enough that people are not going to be sitting on them and injuring themselves? Or is there some way to
I
get
think they're
graffiti
tall
off of it?
Yeah, they're like 36 inches, so it's going to be hard for people
Okay.
to like get up and sit on them.
Okay,
And they're probably only about yay big.
okay.
So-
And you'll be able to get graffiti off of them if they're spray painted?
They're literally plastic covers. So if
Okay.
there's graffiti and it's too much that it can't be washed away, we could probably get a
Okay,
new cover.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
any
done. I'll leave you
other
alone.
questions? I know we're going really fast here, but now we're on project updates.
Yes,
Bill
and
Markham.
We will
thank
move
you.
as fast as possible on this. Just wanted to provide you some updates on previous discussion matters and programs that we've talked about. The downtown area plan, we had an excellent open house on August 14th. Approximately 50 different individuals attended throughout the evening. We've got some excellent feedback from folks on a variety of issues. Our consultant was there the entire night to answer questions in addition to staff. And they are currently putting together the information that was gathered that evening. And it will be, it'll be presented at our next open house on September the 6th here. It will be from 6 to 8 p.m. And we're looking forward to seeing what was gathered from that public comment. Okay. Any questions about that? All right.
If we're not going to, I was going to ask Jennifer, can we go to that September 6th, or is that too many of us?
There's a council meeting that evening. Is that, oh, that is incorrect. I take that back.
No, we should be able to.
Yes, you can go.
Okay,
We
I
can
didn't
go.
know if it was like, we're too many of us, and it's a council, and.
I would advise not hanging out together.
Yeah.
But you're welcome
We
to.
could stand
Okay.
on one table.
What did he say?
Stand at one too.
All right.
And I
Okay.
will say, I did attend, as did Councilman
Yeah.
Rogers, and it was a really robust discussion. I actually liked seeing the citizens kind of talking with each other and being like, oh, no, that's not in this area, and so there was a lot of like real live action going on, and it was very good.
We
a lot of
were
great
very
comment.
pleased. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Item B, the Marine Transportation Assistance Program, or MTAP. We had hoped that this program would be rolled out by now. However, we found that the contract that was involved with the people that are administering the cards and that was not sufficient. And the attorney's office is working on drafting an amended contract for this. We are ready to go with this program. In fact, Esther, the company that will be administering the cards and so forth, they are working on an application process right now. They will manage that. That will all be in their hands. We will not have any information that we will have to maintain. So as soon as that application is done, and that should be in about a week or two at the very most, I would anticipate that we'll have a contract ready for both parties to sign, and we'll be able to roll out that program. And our initial funding for that, we're going to go with $80,000 and see what the response is for transportation assistance for Murray residents only, and they do have to meet some rigorous financial guidelines in order to participate in this as well.
How does the citizens find out about this? Will this be in the the mayor's
We will
newsletter?
advertise it as much as we can,
Okay.
on the website. We'll go to different organizations, UTA,
Okay.
and so forth. So yeah, we'll
Okay.
get the word out as broadly as possible.
Okay.
The town just, excuse me, I left my water back there. The Townsend House relocation. Today I received the structural evaluation of the house, and I'm pleased to report that he says it's in great shape. He said that the walls are in great shape, the roof is not sagging, the floors are level, as level as a house that age can be. And other than the back porch, and thank you, and the front porch, the house can be moved relatively safely, in his opinion. Some of the brick may have to be repointed, which would be addressing some of the mortar to secure some of the bricks in that. But the house mover would do that. I spoke with Valgardson and Sons this afternoon also. They are the people that moved the chapel for us the last time we did this. And I'm in talks with them to come up and do a site visit and look at this. I don't know how specialized house moving is. If there's another viable provider out there, there's a chance that this could be a single source. There's a chance that we may have to go through the procurement policy on this, but it's initially I was told it could be as much as $100,000 to move the house. And then we have site improvements that we need to do on the parcel as well.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we expected, so.
All right.
But that's great news.
The next one, E, 5025 South State
Bill?
property. Yeah.
You didn't do C.
I didn't do C? Oh, I
Employee
did not.
down payment
The
assistance
Employee
program.
Down Payment Assistance Program. I'm proud to announce that is signed, sealed, and delivered as of today. So Zach was working on a flyer for city employees this afternoon. So that's rolling out as we speak. So
Wonderful.
you will see that on city communications and everything. I apologize for skipping over that.
Oh, no, that's fine.
5025 South State, that is the mayor's bailiwick there. And all I can say is I can't say anything.
I can say something. It's with the attorney's office right now, and they're just going over some specifics, and we had talked to all of you in writing just to make sure that things are going to go the way this developer says, and so.
Cross those Ts.
I would say, Jill, I hate to even guess. We're just getting some things in writing. Another week, maybe 2, is what I'm thinking. So, and we're working on this. We want to get it going. We just want to make sure we do it right, so.
All right.
Sounds good. It's a big deal. My
Very
goodness.
quickly on the Cherry Street sidewalk project, after consulting with the city engineer, he feels that we are better spending the money on improving the road surface, and that will take almost all of the $200,000. There are problems with doing sidewalk on that street. There are a lot of right-of-way that would have to be purchased. There are utilities that would have to be moved, and it would take a considerable amount of time. And this is the other RDA project that terminates at the end of this year. So we want to utilize these funds in a positive manner and do a project that can.
Sorry, Cherry Street is right here.
Cherry Street's on 4800 South, about 4th West, and it
About
runs
4th
north off of 4800 South.
Okay.
If you go down it, it curves in back of Lowe's.
Yep.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's an industrial area.
Yeah.
Industrial park.
Okay.
Okay, and unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time left for one last item, but I do want to inform you that as we have been reviewing the RDAs and their lifespan, there are 2 RDAs that are due to expire the end of 2023. One is Cherry Street, the other is the Smelter Site RDA. And the Smelter Site RDA basically encompasses the IHC campus and Costco and just a little bit of like where the police training facility is. So it's primarily fully contained on that IHC site there. And the issue that we have there's a significant amount of money left in that RDA right now because of the revenue that Costco has generated since its inception. There's about $4.6 million in there. And it's a high priority that we utilize those funds for a worthwhile project. So we have been brainstorming somewhat, and we have been talking to other experts in the field about what we can do. And really briefly, some of the options on the table for us, we can seek an extension. It is possible, especially if we take what they call as a haircut. We don't continue to take the full tax increment. So
How long can we
I don't
extend
know.
it?
That I do not know. So we'll be checking into that. I don't know how long that process takes either. We could potentially see about reimbursing the city for the money spent on Cottonwood Street behind the hospital. The city spent approximately $1 million on that road this past year in improving that road. That wouldn't take all of the money, however. The $200,000 additional money could come to NeighborWorks from this fund as well. So that's something to consider. That money is available. We would like to do another station area plan, the central station area plan. $100,000 would enable us to seek a match to have a grant to do a complete study of the central station area plan there. And that's something that we would really like to see, especially where it's situated next to the downtown and everything. We think that's crucial.
Okay, Phil, just a minute. I'm just going to tell the people who just arrived, we're running late. We're currently with the RDA, and so we'll take a little time and we'll probably start our council meeting about 10 or 15 minutes late. So
I'll
just
try
to let you know.
and be quicker than that. It
Okay.
depends on questions. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And another one, the 60-40 loan program that we've talked about tonight. There's no reason that money could not come from this RDA as well, as far as I have been told. So that would be $1 million for that. So we're looking at ways that we can chip away at this. It's difficult to come up with a single project that would utilize all of those funds just because of the complexity of that project.
Right. I have a question. Is the hospital interested, or could they do anything with that as well? If there was some part of their facility that they needed?
Well, again, it would take a lot of advanced planning in that, you know.
Oh, in that time frame. Yeah, you're right. Green space.
Right. You know, yeah,
No, I don't.
there's a whole host of things
Yeah.
that could potentially be done, but our backs are against the wall on that.
What are
Okay, thank you.
not permitted uses?
Boy.
Like, for example, you mentioned that the police training center is over there.
The-
I know that there
have
could be
to
upgrades to
provide-
that, or is that not permitted?
You have to provide a beneficial use to the RDA area. Typically, that has been infrastructure or, you know, other improvements like that.
So Phil, could you and your group come up with a list of possibilities?
We're
I'm sure you've already
urgently
started.
working on that, yeah.
Great.
It came to light.
Okay, and
And,
that's,
you know, just one other thing, we had a suggestion about actually installing protected bike lanes on Cottonwood Street as well. There really isn't any parking on Cottonwood Street. That's something we'd like to explore. Maybe putting a small median on the side, you know, to protect that bike lane there. It looks like it
see, all
would be
the
a good
good
project.
uses. We
There
can
are-
spend that money.
There are a lot of projects that we could look at. And so
Yeah.
we are working, we'll be back in touch, but it is an urgent matter, so.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach, too. It's good to see you up here.
Yes. Okay, that is it for the RDA, so we are adjourned. We will start back at 6:45 for the council.